going to hit the red button here. All right. So it looks like I may have reorganized my list here and maybe some folks popped in, but we are doing, we're going around just doing some introductions. And Vinny, you are on the list here. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jeff's brother, if you can hear me.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome.
So I don't know if you need my video or not. I just left it off for now.
Cool. That looks like a cool picture. Is that like Italy or something? Or?
Yeah, I'm actually a part of the club in the city called the Segno, and we've done a lot of online virtual events that I'm always doing. So it defaults to that, I guess, as I'm using the Zoom.
Nice. Cool.
Just to let you know, I'm the better looking Messina, by the way. It says a lot. Tell him to leave the picture up.
Oh, that's great. Matthew E.
Hi, I'm Matthew. Let's see, where is he? Oh, yeah, I'm not on mute. Yeah, I'm Matthew, and I'm brand new to this whole thing. I have no knowledge of Bitcoins or wallets, so this is a great opportunity to learn what it is and how I could get involved and invest in it. I'm a regular investor. I invest in stocks, options, and Forex and all that, but never into this market. So looking at it from an investment standpoint.
Excellent. Shankar.
Hi.
Hi, Shankar.
Hi. Ooh, Lex just sent this.
Oh, guys, if you're not talking, can we just please ask you to mute?
Bet against maximalism.
Cool. All right, so let's keep going here. We got this is a bit challenging on Zoom because it like reorganizes it constantly. On team, we do this in Teams sometimes, and it keeps it pretty static. But Bianca, am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I am really interested in NFTs. I think that it's a revolutionary technology, and in order to purchase NFTs right now, it's on the Ethereum network. So having a wallet is important. I have Metamask, so I just like to hear more. I just want to become more knowledgeable in every aspect, just in case I'm missing something, or just in having the opportunity to just learn more. But my main interest is NFTs. I think they're unbelievable. I'm so passionate about it, so excited about it. So yeah, if that comes up, I'm definitely going to be over here like clapping my hands and screaming. So
absolutely. How can it not come up right now, right? Like there's
yes,
just
I
insane.
know. Also, thanks for hosting this. Love it.
Awesome. Akina?
Yeah, Ike is fine.
Ike, cool.
Ike, yeah. Yeah, so I'm a electrical engineer by trade, so not a trader or anything like that, but I have an interest, read a lot about Bitcoin and other cryptos, and just trying to learn as much as I can. Ethereum seems like it's a really interesting technology, and so thanks for hosting this.
Awesome, nice, good to have you. Jason Brown.
Yes, I'm an investor, Jason. I'm investing in various tokens and coins.
Nice. Awesome. How about JB? John?
Hey, nice to meet everybody. I am also an electrical engineer. So I've missed going to cryptocurrency meetups in the city, which I've been doing for a couple of years to try to learn how all this stuff works, more from the technology standpoint, although I do dabble in the coins too. Not too much DeFi. I played with the 1-inch DEX a little bit, but I don't really use Metamask. So I'm hoping to learn about that.
Awesome. Good. Excellent. All right. Mala?
Yes. Hi, I'm brand new to Bitcoin and Ethereum. As I learn about blockchain, I'm a Java software developer by profession, and I'm on a maternity break right now, so I'm trying to stand repertoire and figure out if I can get into blockchain.
Awesome. Good to have you.
And yes.
Did I get Dylan? Nice rig. Oh, I think you're muted. I don't know if we can't hear you.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, coming at you from Georgia, actually.
Nice.
I'm up here or down here, I guess, depending on where you're pointing your navigation, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. Well, welcome. All right. I think I got everyone. If I missed anyone, just kind of ring it out and introduce yourself. I think I got everyone. Tom.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Masha. Hey, hello.
Hi. Sorry about that background. It's for a meeting that I had previously. But my name is Massa. I work as a social psychologist, and I specifically study system transformation internationally. And so I'm really interested in this system transformation. And yeah, I'm really excited to hear what we're going to be speaking about tonight.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Tom, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, I think you're muted. Oh, we can't hear you, Tom. You're muted. Oh, nothing. It doesn't.
Yeah, it looks like it's your system that has you muted. Now it has the software and the system.
Yeah, it looks like you're unmuted now, but we're not getting any audio coming through there. All right, we'll come back to you, Tom.
He's not an interesting person. Don't worry.
Oh man.
Jeff's got you covered.
All right. Cool. Button. I don't think we got you. Button Dot. Want to introduce yourself? All right. That's cool. All right, guys. So again, welcome. We are recording this, so we can come back to this later. We'll be posting this to the liblockchain.org site. So today, Button said hi in the chat. Nice. What's up, Button? Today, we want to kind of just review the topic of digital wallets, right? And the format of this meetup is going to be more of kind of like a clubhouse style where we could just have an open discussion. We didn't prepare any type of slides or anything like the last meetup. I tried to actually, and it wasn't, my Node.js stuff wasn't compiling, and I just says, all right, we'll just talk about this. So I do have some notes. I'll probably share my screen with some of the notes that I put together just to kind of guide the conversation in terms of, some top level topics. And then, if you guys have any questions or if you want to dive deeper into any specific section of this, more than happy to do so. And I think I'll probably try to demonstrate a little bit of how you can generate an address on Ethereum. I think that's kind of a cool eye-opening thing that you can see, like, hey, it's really simple to create an address. Like, you don't need all of this crazy software. You can literally open up a bank account by writing numbers on a piece of paper, right? It's a very open and accessible type of system that Ethereum and generally blockchain technology is exposed to not only people in America, but the entire world. So it's kind of a big deal, right? It's a big transforming technology, I think, as Masa, you said. So that kind of leads us into the first piece here. And I'll go ahead and let me just share my screen because I do have some notes here that I'll post to the screen here. And you know what, too, before I share my screen, in the last meetup, we minted a bunch of just fake tokens. We called them LIBC tokens.
Not fake. They exist.
They exist. They're on the Gorelli test network. And one of the goals here in Long Island Blockchain is really to get us experimenting and learning the technology, not just from hey, where do I just throw my money so I can make a ton of money? We want to help everyone understand what this technology is and maybe what you're putting your money into and investing into, right?
Also, so that we don't get sued, this is all on a test net for now.
Yes, that's an important one. We're not trying to shill any tokens to you guys. That is not our intention. But we do want to get us moving around tokens so that you guys can kind of like, hey, this is how you create a transaction, right? This is how we can pass around tokens and use this digital wallet. So if you guys want to do that, we do have we minted like what 100 million of these things or something like that.
I think it was 10 million.
10 million.
And I need the contract address so I can recover mine.
We're already losing them.
but they exist. You know, it's better for us to teach on that test net, because then it doesn't cost any money for actually, you know, transacting on the Ethereum network. So we'll give you the fountain of the test ETH, and then we'll give you all the test Long Island blockchain coin token, whatever we're going to end up calling it. And we'll share it around. But that actually requires a wallet. And I think that's where we're going to get started. Right. Why don't we get started with what's probably everyone's the most familiar with, and that's soft wallets.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and share
Nick.
my screen here. I'm going to go share the screen. Okay. So we've got a couple of notes here, right? And I think before we get into the specific types of wallets, I think backing up and really just saying, hey, what is a digital wallet, right? And a digital wallet, the term digital wallet is used all over the place, even outside of blockchain, right? You could think of PayPal as a digital wallet, right? You can think of Square as a digital wallet, right? They're a piece of software that hold some type of value, right? Now, PayPal just recently, I think, opened up where you can actually store cryptocurrencies in their digital wallet software. But when we're speaking about a digital wallet in terms of a blockchain, or more specifically Ethereum, we're really speaking about a piece of software that is sitting on top of your address that exposes operations for you to interact with the given blockchain. So things like creating a transaction, or maybe in Ethereum's case, calling into a smart contract. Those types of things are kind of abstracted away via software so that we can simply use it in the interface. And that interface we're interacting with is essentially the wallet. So really, it's pretty simple, right? The wallet is a piece of software that allows us to interact and stores our value and transfer our value on the blockchain. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. And
can you hear me?
Yeah, Tom, we got you. Awesome.
All
nice.
Right. Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
So yeah, Metamask is a popular one, right? That's the one it's a browser plugin here, and you can use it right within Chrome. And you can see here that I'm connected to Gorelli, and I've got some test ETH in here. We've got the LIBC. Now, this wallet software is sitting on top of, or really housing, my Ethereum address, right? And that's really the kind of the second part of this, is stepping back a little bit and dipping down into what exactly is an address, right? When we say an address, we're typically referring to, this string of googly gosh, right? Right. If we can go to Etherscan, and on the test net. Oh, this is the main net. Can I switch to the test net here? Let's go to Gorelli. Etherscan will allow us to pull up the address, right? And we can see all of the activity that's happened in this address, right? So this balance matches what's in my wallet here, right? 99.874. There it is. So that's something that's really important to understand. And I see this term being used a lot when people talk about wallets, is where do I store my coins? Right? I guess I'll ask you guys this. Where do you think your coins are stored?
For most people that don't, interact directly with their blockchain, they're going to be using one of the custodian accounts, right? So they're on Coinbase, which is similar to, you were saying, Venmo or PayPal or some of those other services. And what that ends up being is that's a centralized entity that's acting on others' behalf. And the key breakthrough of the technology that we're exploring here is, cryptography, and the decentralized network gets to do that without any custodian. So when you are operating with Metamask, directly, you're operating directly onto one of the blockchains. MetaMask happens to use, you are operating directly onto the Ethereum blockchain. But otherwise, my guess is most people are interacting on Coinbase.
Right. But now, kind of to build on that. So even with Coinbase, if they're being the custodian, where is this balance actually living?
Actually, this balance is living in the blockchain.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly. So it's actually on the blockchain, right? You don't have, even if I'm a custodian or not a custodian, this balance does not exist within the context of this software. It is just showing you what the balance is on the chain itself, right? So your balance literally lives in the blockchain, which is kind of cool, right? So that means that you can move this wallet around very easily. Like this wallet I have installed on 3 or 4 computers, right? So, and it's going to be synchronized because the blockchain is synchronized. So if I spend on here, my wallet on my other computer will automatically update because it's just referencing the decentralized database that is the blockchain itself, right? Which is kind of exciting. It's not like a physical wallet where I don't even have a physical wallet. So like, use my phone. If I had my physical wallet with cash in it, I can't just, leave my wallet at home and go to another place and be like, oh, here's my wallet, right? It's not going to work that way. I got to like ship it or something. With this type of technology, it's stored on chain.
You can't take a picture of the money in your wallet and show it to them at the store.
Yeah, right. It's a QR code. It's just scan the dollar.
So when you put it on a cold wallet, is it off the blockchain?
No.
Like you store it on the ledger or something like that?
It is not off the blockchain. It is always going to be on the blockchain. What a cold wallet does is it is giving you a physical interface for actually approving those transactions on that blockchain. When you're doing it through Metamask, and that's a soft wallet, and I know, Nick, you'll get into this, but you are clicking things on a web. You are interacting with the internet. When you're doing it on a USB device, you still need an internet connection. There is a set of data that's coming in, and you are approving that transaction from your physical device. So you'll never be able to execute any transactions without it physically in your hand.
So it is a fail-safe to give it another level of security for your crypto, whatever it may be.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And it really comes down to where is the private key stored. So your private key, right, is, and I'll show this in a minute, is really the key to your wallet, right? When we look at this address, we can look at this address as almost like a public key, where in a typical, we call it a PKI infrastructure, right? Public key infrastructure. You have a private key and a public key, right? I can give you my public key, and you can encrypt any message with that public key.
That's
right?
basically your mailbox, correct?
Your mailbox, exactly. But now you can place things in the mailbox, all encrypted, but the only person that can decrypt it is the person with that private key, right? So if I store the private key in a software wallet like MetaMask has the private key on my disk someplace, right? On this computer's disk. It's less secure if, say, you have one of these bad boys, like a Nano or something like that. There's a hardware enclave on this device that stores that private key. And if it's not on the computer, so you can't really steal this unless you physically steal it. And even if you did, you still have to, put the passcode in and all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely going to give you a little bit more protection there.
So it behooves one to, if you're able to, and you're not a day trader, if you're on Coinbase, to get the bulk of your assets onto a Nano per se. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
There's always the common saying of not your keys, not your coins.
Correct.
So
and yeah, if you don't hold it, you don't own it, so to speak.
Yeah. Now I'm saying that I don't practice that myself that very much, to be honest with you. I do.
Don't admit that, Nick.
I don't. I've had this thing sitting on my desk for years, and I hardly use it. I should, but I because
you have faith. You have faith.
He has a belief. Has a belief in the infrastructure, which has screwed him before. You can remember Mount Gox.
Mount
Yeah,
Gox for sure.
I
That
was in the Mount
devastated
Gox mix up.
Well,
But
yeah. Oh boy.
he
So
has a
can I
belief
ask a
in
question
the.
here?
Sure, Mom.
So the soft wallet would be MetaMask. So and Coinbase also acts as a soft wallet, and then you can pull
So
the coin.
Coinbase is an account owner. You know, they are interacting with a KYC, so they're going to know you, Mala, and they're going to set up an account for you. And any transactions that you want to do, they really are going to be doing on your behalf. It's the same as if you were to go to an advisor. You're not operating on the blockchain. So it's not actually a soft wallet.
Okay. And then the nano would be like a hard the cold wallet that was mentioned. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and
Would
it's cold.
you agree? Sorry, Nick, I'm wondering, do you think that really the only responsible reason, and I'm not passing any judgment on why you leave your coins on an exchange, but do you say that the only responsible reason to leave your coins on an exchange would be is if you're staking? Otherwise, you really should pull them off.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable assessment. Is if you're looking to make interest on it in various different ways, participate in some of the DeFi stuff, that makes a lot of sense. For me personally, I feel like I'm more of a risk to myself. Like I'm gonna lose something. I'm gonna lose my keys, my seed phrase, and then I'm just gonna be mad at myself. You know, so you know.
So it's a belief in Coinbase as what will be a public company in the coming weeks or months in the US. And although it's not your keys, it's the same as operating with your bank.
Yeah. And I would imagine too, eventually some of the, and this may take a long time and this may be pipe dreaming, but like, you know, things like FDIC insurance and all that type of stuff will start to emerge. Like we keep cash in our banks confidently, right? We're not going to keep cash in our houses, right? So it's something that I think that needs to evolve, right? Where we're going to have that type of infrastructure in our countries, at least.
And you saw Coinbase is now going to support ETH2 staking. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that is nice. Like pooled staking?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, instant liquidity. Yep.
Nice.
So will you just speak a little bit more on that key phrase and how or when you would want to use that? Do you know what I'm speaking about?
The you mean the not, I can't pronounce this word properly, the mnemonic terms?
Yeah, the words that you get when you set up your digital wallet, and those are like the things that you're not supposed to ever lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that a little bit. That's I think that's pretty cool. So there's a couple of things here. So you know, there's different types of addresses in Ethereum. And the one that we're talking about right now is really an internal address, right? I mean, I'm sorry, an external address. An external address is a user's address, right? These are the addresses that we as users hold. This is exactly what I just showed you here. This address right here is a user's address, right? The big difference with Ethereum is there's a user address and there's also contract addresses, right? So contracts can be pieces of software. Now a user's address, this address here really represents the public address, right? In order for us to create any types of transactions, we need to have an associated private key to sign the transactions so that we can move value and balances around in this account, right? And it's pretty simple where you can create a wallet. And let me see if I can demo this real quick. This may completely fail, but let's see. So I have a little development environment here. I'm going to go ahead and dive into this. This is going to get a little technical, but I hope it shows a little bit of what an address actually is. So I have a little project here. There's literally no code, but it requires this one library called Web3. And Web3 is just a little wrapper that gives us some Ethereum functionality. So if I go here on the console and I just go into this environment, it's called Node.js. We don't have to go too much into exactly what that means, but I go ahead and create this this Web3 object, which this is like me bringing a toolbox to the job site, right? So I just filled up my toolbox. It's got this Web3 object now, which has a whole bunch of tools in it for me to use. And I'm going to go ahead. I have a little reference on my other screen here so I don't fumble. So I'm going to say let e equal new web3.modules.eth. Now this is going to give us an instance of the ETH toolbox. So it's like I went into my bag and I took out another toolbox that is now E, and that's all in this E object. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new wallet address, and I'm going to do this by just making up a phrase. So what you guys are typically seeing are those seed phrases when you create something with like MetaMask. We can simply make up our own seed phrase, and this is a specific type of wallet called a brain wallet. So I'm going to say create a wallet, and I'll just make up a seed phrase. So I'll say the seed phrase will be a bunch of ones. And now that just went and that created an address and a private key. Now a private key in Ethereum is any, how long are they? 64 character string. So right here, this is a private key. It's 64 characters long. You can make up any 64 characters. You can literally write down 64 characters on a piece of paper, and that is a valid private key for the Ethereum network. Now with that private key and a little bit of cryptography, you can create this address. It has to go through what's called a deterministic function. It's a bunch of math, but you could take any 64 characters and then make this address on it. Now this address exists. So we go here onto, say, the Etherscan, and you can see here's the address. We just created this address out of thin air. Now there's no Ether in it. You could get lucky and find an address that actually has value in this. It would be pretty unlikely because there's programs that literally automate, scour this, and do dictionary attacks against this. But really the point here is that you can create a wallet with any 64 character string as your private key.
So what has done the extraction from the 10 ones that you wrote to create that into the encryption method? Like, because your seed phrase isn't the 10 ones, or is that?
It is. That is. So like when the brain wallet's terrible for obvious reasons, right? Because like if you know this, you're going to be able to crack this. And this is where more complicated seed phrases or seeds come into play, like the ones we see in the mnemonics. Why can't I say that word? But we could do anything here, like new word, title, and this could be that, I think it's 12 words that come out and then create another private key. Now the private key is just a SHA. It's called SHA 256 of this word. So you could take any. I think there's a SHA 256 online. So I could take any input here, like test, and boom, this is going to be a valid private key. Now I could take that private key and pipe it through the math that's needed to make the public key, which is that deterministic function. Uses like elliptic curve encryption, which is really cool stuff. A lot of math. But that will create these addresses. Now, how does that relate to the mnemonic? Geez, somebody help me out here.
Close. The mnemonic.
Mnemonic. There we go. It's like mnemonic. Yes. I see the word in my head and it just fumbles every time. So that is correlated to a standard called BIP32, and BIP32 is actually a Bitcoin standard. So BIP stands for Bitcoin Improvement Proposal, and 32 I think is just a number. But this standard, I think it's BIP32. Yeah, this
was it ever instituted, or it was just a proposal?
Oh no, it was instituted. Yeah, and a lot of other blockchains use it, like Ethereum uses it too. And this is mostly the way that we generate wallets now. It uses what's called HD wallets, so it's hierarchical deterministic wallets, and as a result, you get these seed phrases. So those seed phrases allow you to create a private key along with a couple of other inputs that allow us to take a private key and then generate an unlimited amount of public addresses. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever used Bitcoin, but typically when you use Bitcoin, you generate a new address every time you transact. But you're creating a new address from one private key.
So if MetaMask has given me this seed phrase, then doesn't that mean that they understand or they know my private key?
That's a good question. So this protocol, this algorithm, BIP32, or the details of this really are how those words are generated. So although MetaMask does that calculation for you, it's not like you're making a request to their servers and they're doing it and then they're saving it and then giving it back to you. It's programmed inside of this software. So technically you're right? That could be, they could be, transmitting the keys back and then, stealing them. But I would think they would probably get exposed pretty quickly if they did that, because this is open source and all that type of stuff. So that'd be pretty bad.
So it's data at rest when it's in the MetaMask wallet. They've given you the infrastructure. You are literally just calling the code to do the encryption. And it actually, then that's why there's nothing transmitted back to them.
Right.
Do all of them start with 0x, the phrase, the numeric 64 code?
Yeah.
And is that only on the Ethernet? Ethereum platform? Because I haven't done a lot of Bitcoin stuff, but everything that I've transacted with almost entirely has been 0x, and it's been on the Ethereum platform, whether it's Cardano or Theta Fuel, VeChain, it's all 0x.
Yeah, so 0x, I don't think Bitcoin, I just did a quick search here. I don't think Bitcoin does the 0x in front, but the 0x is really signifying that this is like a hexadecimal format. So anything that's going to be annotated in hexadecimal would probably prefix with that 0x.
You want to elaborate on that? Because I don't want to go off on a tangent, but what does that mean?
Yeah. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys. So if anybody knows better than I do here, but typically when we communicate with hex is a different numerical system, right? So like when we talk about regular numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's base 10 numbers. That's basically how we communicate with numbers as human beings, typically. Computers, they communicate with binary, which is base 2. So everything is zeros or ones, but you can communicate decimals like the number 10 in zeros and ones. There's kind of a middle ground there, which makes it a little bit easier for both humans and computers to understand, called hexadecimal, which is base 16. It makes it shorter. So like if we one of these characters really represents a binary number, right? And I think it's 1 byte if I'm not mistaken. So it'd be 4 bits. So it's just it's like almost like a compression technique for communicating binary information. If that makes any sense.
I'll look into that on the side.
Cool.
Tangent out.
Yeah.
It's encryption. Each letter means a whole other thing.
Yeah, but I also think it's a problem for a lot of things because it makes it less approachable. People see stuff like this, like the Ethereum name service and stuff like that. I think you're doing a good job with abstracting these out. Like, an IP address to a website, it's a similar thing, right? You know Google.com, you don't know Google.com's IP address. So, I think we probably need to get layers on top of this so we don't
Which is why I own liblockchain.eth.
Oh, you do? I was going to ask you if you own that because I was looking. I was on ENS the other day, and I'm like, who got this?
That'd be us.
Nice.
Where'd you go? Unstoppable Domains?
No, I did it through the Ethereum naming service.
Oh, okay.
But I believe Unstoppable Domains, and I haven't played with it yet. I also haven't actually hosted the I haven't set it up. I just bought it. But I believe Unstoppable Domains will be able to just, ingest the ENS domains, so I can just use their services.
You can put your Unstoppable Domains on MetaMask.
Cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then what you can do is you can just have like joe.crypto, and it'll go right. Instead of having all those numbers starting with 0x, you just have that. So
I
Well,
think
yes, exactly.
gonna-
That's
You
li
read a few chapters
blockchain.eu.
ahead, Tom?
was that?
You read a few chapters ahead of the class here?
You didn't get the manual.
I think OX is starting with starting with OX is ERC20 token.
Oh, that's ERC20? Okay.
Yeah, ERC20 token. All the ERC20 token starts with OX. And if it is a different like TRC20 is there, and similar like Bitcoin is different. So it depends on the token.
Yeah, because of how they're going to do the encryption.
Yes.
Right? Like which protocol it would.
So it's all ERC20 token based on ERC20. It will start with OX, and different things like TRC20 is there, and like so many things is there. Like for Cardano, for example, it starts with it's not ERC20 token. Cardano starts with it's like DDZ, something like that.
So you're saying, yeah, so it's because it's a different chain.
Yes, it's a different chain. Yeah.
And
so all the tokens based on the Ethereum, which is ERC20, which
OX.
starts with OX.
Yeah.
So
And
then
that's
they have
any account on Ethereum.
But the
So most of
non-fungibles,
but most of the coins what you see in the market are based on ERC20. Most of the smart contract is based on ERC20 at this moment.
Yep.
So that's why you see all the addresses like starts with OX.
Yep.
okay.
Cool.
I have another question. Where is there a place, or is there a place where there is an identification of me and my name with excuse me, with that public address?
Only
Like,
if you
does
give it
MetaMask?
out.
Okay.
You know, so some exchanges or some services will ask you to do KYC. So if you go
Which is what
with
know your customer, right?
Yes, thank
Know
you.
your crypto.
Know your
Yes,
crypto.
yeah. If you go and you can, once you have that address, it's basically your login. That is your identity. And if any service or site asks you to interact on behalf of that wallet address and to provide your information, well, then they are the only ones that can do that mapping. But just to set up that wallet, you saw that Nick just, entered 1111 directly onto an Ethereum protocol. It has no idea who Nick is.
Right. But it will, the record of any activity on that account is going to be fully public.
Will always contain, the address, and all transactions on that address will always be transparent. And if at any point in time that they are able to, I don't know, whoever's inspecting, but match a name to an address, well, then they have access to all transactions that have ever taken place on that wallet.
Yeah.
Also pay your taxes.
Yeah. It's all right. So kind of going through this list, just kind of keep the convo on track here. We have, what do these wallets do for us? When we're talking about Ethereum and really any smart contract based blockchain, you're going to see that they not only enable us to exchange the native token, which on Ethereum it's Ether, but call into smart contracts and execute smart contracts. Now, MetaMask, I don't think really does this too well, right? Like we don't, unless you call it from a web interface, which is already developed, it could sign the request into the actual smart contract, but you're not going to get an interface that says, here's your inputs.
Well, look at the swap option. So you can't do it on the Garelli chain.
Oh, okay. That's a good example. Yeah.
But on the public chain, they're doing a tremendous amount of swaps, and they had, and I'm not going to quote the number because I don't know it at all, but they had a serious amount of transaction fees that they were incurring over a monthly period.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Significant. So that is how your contract execution from within wallet.
But you're executing their contract. So they program their swap into their own software, and they're going to make a ton of money on it.
Yes.
Nice. That's
I
awesome.
mean, they end up using the other aggregators, like they're doing the swaps through 1inch or Sushi Swap or
okay.
Uniswap, but the interface is theirs, and then they'll do the money aggregations and do the swap for you and collect their fee.
Nice. Interesting.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there are a ton of different wallets too, and some of them actually do take in what's called an ABI from a smart contract, which is the interface to call into a smart contract, and then will render a display dynamically for you on how to call into it. Tends to be, I think, a little technical now, but I think some of these, most of these, I'm pretty unfamiliar with. But I think, Craig, you mentioned something about Argent the other day.
Just that it was one that I was told I really need to go and learn and use more. You have my Ether wallet, which was one of the first soft Ether wallets to go out. That one's a really cool one. And I believe Metamask runs through my Ether wallet. And I don't know how that works yet, but I believe it's the two of them have a...
Well, that's interesting because I think that's an important point to make too, is that not only the distinction between a soft and hard wallet, but what do they call it? A light node or full node. When you're talking about a wallet, you're interfacing to an Ethereum node running someplace, and a node basically is a piece of software that is responsible for basically storing the actual entire blockchain itself, which I think is like 800 gigs now or something like that on Ethereum. Or is it larger?
Wouldn't even be able to estimate it, but I know it's tremendous, unfortunately.
So they go through part nodes then.
They go through.
Well, they have the light clients.
Yeah, so like MetaMask uses a service called Infura, which Infura is a gateway to a lot of. They basically do hosted nodes. They host these nodes for us, and then inside, if you look at the MetaMask code, they connect to Infura, and a lot of dApps do this, where they're instead of maintaining and hosting your own node, you could just connect to them. Now you could argue that does cause maybe a little bit of centralization.
It does, and there was a major concern for quite some time that they said if Infura ever goes down, well then so does the Ethereum protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that obviously was disproven because Infura went down 4 or 5 months ago, something like that.
Hmm.
And there are obviously enough nodes that did not, put the Ethereum chain at any vulnerability. So it was a good proof of concept that even if Infura should go down, Ethereum is still decentralized.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's really good. I think the most popular full node still is Gath, right? Which is, I think, Ethereum's Go implementation of the actual protocol. It's relatively easy to run. You could run a full node yourself. And when you do that, you do have the capability to be fully kind of independent and be in that full blown, like, hey, I have the entire blockchain. I can validate transactions myself. I can sign transactions myself. I can operate a wallet with my own node. You can even sign transactions and don't even send them up to the network yet and things like that. So, this would be an example of a full node wallet where you would run the entire blockchain. A lot of people doing this on like Raspberry Pis and stuff like that, or in AWS instances in the cloud.
And that's how they all get access to the mempool of Ethereum and get to front run all the transactions.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Because this is going to hold all of those pending transactions. And this is how you could mine too. So you can configure these types of clients, these full nodes, to run as mining operations. And that's where you would be going into the mempool and being, hey, what transaction do I want to actually try to mine?
Put onto the block.
Right.
What would be the advantage of using this meta versus individual wallets? Because I have a VThor wallet, and that automatically, let me see what the product is. With the VThor wallet, I'm automatically, because of my holdings, mining or producing VTHO, which is the VThor token. Same thing with if you're in the I don't know how to pronounce it, Yoroi wallet for Cardano, you can stake directly from there without it leaving that wallet. Much the same with the Theta wallet. You can stake that and you earn T fuel. Would you be able to do all that if you consolidated on the Meta?
Sure. So yeah, so it sounds like a lot of that stuff is more of you're putting balances into smart contracts, and those smart contracts are yielding, right? Because you're staking into these contracts.
Correct.
Yeah, so you would be able to do the same thing with running a full node. You would just be calling into those contracts and staking your coins inside of those contracts. I think Cardano is full proof of stake, right? So everything you're doing on that is related to staking. Is that right?
About 70%.
70%. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, not 100%.
But there, I mean, for basic comparison, you have your money in the bank doing nothing. You have it in these entities that are actually,
it's amazing
for the boom time we're in right now with it. Plus, you're making more or less outrageous interest.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Why would you want to? It was hard enough to figure this all out on our own. I know you guys probably are a little more advanced than Tom and I, but Tom seems to hold his own with you guys. But
yeah, right.
Deviate from
He's selling us ENS domains at the end of the call.
Yeah, right.
but to deviate from the individual wallets that are basically specified for the tokens themselves, most of us don't want to risk reinventing the wheel. If it's
right.
If broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the right strategy. I think a lot of that stuff needs to exist, and that's kind of where we're at with the development of this entire technology. We need layers to make it easy for folks to use the technology. If everyone has to install a full node to access this, it's not going to work. This is more for folks that want to get more into the internals of the Ethereum protocol and how the lower level works. And that's why some of the stuff like Craig, you were mentioning, like layer 2 technologies and things like that, we're going to see a lot of this start to emerge over the years where we'll be using technologies that are just higher level, that'll be easier to use. And it'll do the things.
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging when we talk across the different blockchains. Some of the VeChain Thor protocol and the Theta protocol, they all have different decentralizations and consensus properties, which allow them to do different capabilities with their wallet. So, Nick, what you said is those wallets sound like they are smart contract wallets. And so maybe VeChain Thor, and I just don't know enough about the protocol, maybe their wallets are all those smart chain wallets by nature. How they do it, I just don't know yet, but it's calling that staking contract by executing a transaction that's inherent to that protocol. Yeah. But Jeff, to your point though, like, why would you not do it? It's put your money in and it gets bigger.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
Which sticking with Ethereum, which is what we're so excited about on Ethereum 2.0, which is when they're moving from the proof of work consensus mechanisms to the proof of stake consensus mechanisms. Proof of stake is it really relies on people to put their money into a stake, like, hey, I'm not going to act maliciously because if I do, you're going to take my money away.
Right.
That's how proof of stake is going to work, which as opposed to right now, they're on proof of work.
The only thing is with Ethereum, proof of if you stake, then you have to leave it on there. They hold it.
They hold it for a very long time, but that's why you're going to see these other services. So as I was mentioning,
but some of the other ones you can stake and take it out right away.
Well,
You know?
Yes,
Theta, I
100%.
think it's 30
But-
hours or 28 hours for Theta to be.
Okay,
take
right.
off.
Some of them
And
have. Yeah.
I don't want to sound like, those, everyone's an Ethereum maximalist, but it's just, well, how many people are running those Theta nodes? How decentralized is it truly? Part of what makes me so excited about this technology is actually doing that decentralization. I'll never, I'm sure you guys have been around. You saw the EOS thing that's still around technically, but we had someone that joined us back in 2017, and he was huge on EOS. And
Where are they?
they exist.
Yeah.
They
Let's
don't
get him
do
in here, man. Let's
anything.
shoot him a text. I haven't seen him in
Yeah.
a while.
But jumping back to MetaMask, it's going to be big because I think somebody had mentioned tonight they want to learn about non-fungible tokens, the NFTs, and on the MetaMask you're going to be able to hold the ERC 721 tokens, and those are the non-fungible. So that's one of the reasons why you want to have a
Well,
MetaMask.
it's not that it holds it, because remember, it doesn't. Nothing holds it. It just recognizes that the address there is that token represents a point to that address. It is owned by that address.
Right.
Yeah.
Technically, right.
The NFTs, and I think maybe we can segue into that a little bit because it's absolutely amazing what's happening. I mean, besides the fact that there's artists like Beeple and stuff like that making millions on NFTs, the emergence of
my first tweet. Yeah, well, guys, too, tonight every single word we say is actually being minted into an NFT in real time and being sold. I think we're gonna distribute all the funds.
But again, not on the Ethereum wallet, because that would have just cost you about $500,000.
We made 14 mil, but there was 20 million gas fees. So but things like I'll show this real quick. These types of, I'll call them metaverse experiences, where these like like decentralized land and things like this, where this is called crypto voxels, and this is a fully decentralized universe or space on the internet where
it's huge.
It's huge, right? Have anybody hear of this?
I know about the Central Land though, Mana, and some of these things are going for $1.5 million.
They're going for insane amounts of money.
For a plot of property.
The explanation I need is why. What is the?
Because
you're bizarre.
Well, the
distribution of wealth right now, I think, and I was saying this before.
I think too that there's like if we go, let's try to go to one of these. Right, the other day I was literally walking through a classic record shop in one of these places that was selling music, and it was set up in like that old school, like you're flipping through the vinyl, and I was discovering music I would have never discovered. It was amazing, and you could buy it right there. People are setting up actual shops selling actual items, and if you buy real estate in these areas, like there's one area in here that had a big stadium where they had meetups, right? And like maybe we'll have a meetup here one day in crypto voxels. But like if you buy real estate next to that huge stadium, and now you get it gets foot traffic. It's like a physical spot, right? Where people can come into your spot. Like here's a bar. I don't know if you can buy any NFTs here, but
how do you restrict people from entering your spots?
You don't.
All right. So if you can teleport anywhere at any time, what makes one location more valuable than the others?
Oh, this is
location.
Art Simpson.
Yeah, but
but you can teleport.
Yeah, but beyond all of that, what keeps someone from later adding more land, which would then devalue your land? Like you can't do that in real life, but in these central land or whatever.
I'm having a problem with that too. I'm not really too clear on that. Like, okay, so you spent 200 grand on land, and now they just triple the size of the universe.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? That's a good question. I'm not too clear on that myself. That's because right now they may even have expanded this since.
Yeah, they are developing new neighborhoods. The whole thing to do is just buy Decentraland and hold on to it, let everybody else spend it, and let it go up.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Well,
really
yeah.
into this, unless you're into this virtual.
Unless you know join virtual meetups and are trying to do this stuff.
Well, I think it's actually much bigger picture, guys. I think I look at my kids, right? My son's 10 years
Yeah,
old.
they
My
gotta put
daughter's-
headsets on.
they are in Minecraft. They are in all of these games all the time. Those are digital universes they live in. They're buying gear. They're earning tokens and stuff. These are all centralized platforms that they're living in now. If they can get to the point where these are decentralized, where they actually own a piece of the metaverse, and then they can take pieces of equipment they have in Minecraft and bring it to what's the shooter one, the other one that they're playing, and bring their hat. Fortnite. There it is. Fortnite. Yeah. I think that's huge, and I think they're going to be, if somebody can own that kind of that top level metaverse as they're calling it, that's a huge opportunity. If that's a decentralized kind of DAO system, that's huge for the whole community, right? And I mean, this
It's
is
like
obvious.
Ready Player One stuff.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yes.
It's owning the places and the spaces that when the technology is ready, you bring your virtual character to, and you do your virtual tasks or your virtual things. So just because there's more created land doesn't necessarily devalue the land that you have if you've created a reason for people to gather there as a community.
Which also brings you to that point
That's
of
interesting,
like
yeah.
everyone that's here and doing this now is just so incredibly early that they need to do that expansion. If they capped us to only the space that we have now, I mean, it would get crowded very quickly.
To buy some of this Decentraland, you see the prices of it? I mean, you could spend like 150,000 mana for a plot of property. It's crazy. If you go in this site and look at what the prices are.
Didn't you give that out at the Christmas grab bag?
I did.
$20 worth?
I gave $20 worth of Decentraland.
$100 from there, right?
And I order a pizza. Nobody ever contacted me for real estate.
We're gonna read about you in the news in the future. Be like, man gave away $100 million worth of mana.
Man created taxable event for.
I can't grasp this entire concept because it doesn't apply to me. I don't use this, and I'm not involved with this. But I see that there's unbelievable.
Well, let me ask you: have you seen what NBA Top Shots has done recently?
Go to property.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen any of that.
So they're doing it on a different blockchain. They're doing it on the Flow blockchain, but they have tokenized moments in NBA, and they're licensed by the NBA. And they have tokenized moments in NBA for each of the players. So when LeBron James goes and has, some amazing dunk, the video that's captured, people now get an opportunity to say that they own it the same way that the basketball cards have, the history of the basketball cards.
So if you get that, you're the rightful owner of it. So if somebody wants to run it on a television program or
well, you don't get royalties because they're not asking you for permissions. I mean, if the NBA actually if licensing gets mature enough, and they can put the royalties directly into the smart contract, the NBA would be stupid not to start putting those royalties. And you want to use that video, then go ahead and use that video anytime you want, but it's automatically going to charge you. And they can do that, and it's free to just start putting the content out there.
This is some futuristic baseball.
They're nowhere near that, right? Like, but look what you're looking at right now for 200 and I don't even know how to make sense of those numbers, but
that doesn't make any sense.
Well,
$200,000.
Right. So they go out there and they get created, and you can put them up for sale at any price. And people are, like people that got in on this hit the jackpot. I looked at it and I said, oh, it's not on the Ethereum blockchain. I'm not going to sign up. I regret that.
Yeah.
But
why would you spend? I'm having a hard time. Why would you spend $200,000 on?
No one spent $200,000. Someone just asked for $200,000.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So somebody paid 219. I can see new 219.
No, that's the lowest price to get in.
That's someone.
so
That's
can
the lowest
multiple
price
people
someone has
own
asked for. There are
one of these?
828 for sale.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's
15
the
grand.
scarcity and the rarity of the ownership of it that is supposed to drive the value of owning it, and the novelty of specific players and what they do in the future potentially.
Yeah.
But, and I'm going to bring up something, Nick, you go ahead, and I'm going to bring up something really cool where you're still reliant on someone to host the video, right?
I guess you are, right? Like I'm correlating into these are like new school baseball cards. Like we had, baseball cards when we were younger, they were worth a lot of money, and they probably, some of them still are worth a lot of money, and the scarcity is what did it, right? It was like you got one of those rookie cards in a full set, that's going to be worth some money. So, but it's, in this case, again, it goes back to that land idea, right? What's stopping them from just minting more of these? Is there really scarcity, or is it just made up scarcity? I guess it's always made up scarcity. Maybe I'm just thinking about it wrong.
I think what Bianca said was actually quite important. I mean, that really struck me that, if I think it's a matter of the product that you're, like what you're creating with the product. I don't understand this at all. Like the Top Shop, like, I don't know what this is. And I personally, my intuition is that I don't know where this is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, like, I think there's more value personally in like buying a people than there is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes back to what Craig said about somebody needs to host this video. It doesn't actually, I mean, the block belongs to you, but really the video itself belongs to the MBA. It's theirs, right? Like the actual real video. And whereas like a Beeple, I mean, you have like that on the chain. He'll send you like the actual, like a COV print of it and some of his hair apparently.
Nice.
But to your point about hosting, and Nick, I put in the chat window a link to a tweet that just happened, I think, this morning. So here's a pretty significant influencer. He went and created $6.5 million worth of NFTs.
Logan Paul? Oh, Logan Paul.
No.
Oh.
He pulled the rug on himself, right? He created all these NFTs. They made it through the market, right? These are the
cool.
NFTs he created. They're awesome. He sold them to himself. But
I've heard of this for Top.
Check out what he did to himself. If you hit the next one, he changed it. He changed the hosted image.
Oh, wow.
So you may still own the NFT, but it's calling a reference to an image that's hosted somewhere. Mm-hmm. Even if you put it on IPFS, you still need node operators to keep it on IPFS, or other things can happen to it.
Well, does that mean then if I wanted to see one of those images in the future, I would have to purchase it to see it?
No, it means it may be gone.
The actual image itself, unless you download it, yeah.
Can you explain what this means? I'm not understanding.
So I think what this is illustrating here is that when you purchase an NFT, right? NFT is like a token, right? It's essentially an index. It's an index in a list in a smart contract, right? So you're buying a spot in this list. It's a number, right? You're buying a number. That number is correlated to some type of digital piece of information. In this case, the digital information that he was selling was these images. So when you buy this NFT, you're buying the index in the smart contract that is on the blockchain, but that index references an image. What he did was he just changed the reference to the image, but he kept the actual index that you purchased the same. Does that make sense?
What is the value?
Not for one moment.
Well, the question that kind of leads
Is it
right
kind of
into
like
my
buying the
question.
picture and the frame, and then you just have the frame, and they can change the picture out at any time?
Right, exactly. There you go. I like that. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, that was actually my question, because I actually heard that you can have an NFT and have multiple pictures in an NFT and change it. So like I had like a really great idea where you can have like, I don't know, kind of like investment index where you can kind of decide like kind of like how
institutions decided where they're gonna put their assets, and then like have it on different images, and then change it as you like rebalance your portfolio. So I was kind of wondering, how do the people actually go about doing that, as far as making different images and changing it? Because I would like to do something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd actually like to do that in this community. I mean, we did it with ERC20 tokens. We wrote a contract that mints those
Create an
tokens.
NFT.
I'd like to create a contract that can mint NFTs, right? So we can illustrate exactly how to do that. And it's really, it goes down to, I think, you like that? All right, cool. That's
All right, we did that. We were screwing around with it a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure we can get it live.
Oh, we could definitely do it, and I think that'll illustrate that a lot, pretty well. But I think Mala's point's great. It's the same exact idea. We basically would build a frame, and then we would put an image inside of it.
Yes, which is why we're not ready for the full decentralization there, right? Like that's why NFTs, the concept is tremendous. And even if it's not the imagery, but but the concept of here's this thing that I own, and because I own it, I can reference it on the digital interfaces, right? But I think where we are as an industry for NFTs, we're still going to have to start trusting someone to host those images. They're not going to just run away and take away the picture, leave you with an index.
I heard that. I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, I heard that is it true that the artist actually has the overall picture, and then like each image inside the overall picture can be controlled by different people? Is that true?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because from what I hear is you can have an overall picture, like the NFT overall, the overall NFT, and then you can have like specific different boxes kind of pictures in the NFT. And then like,
well, there was a project that released just recently called Mural, and Nick, this is the one that did the airdrop, and they are creating a mural where everyone can go and create an NFT on their overall mural. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, Jay, but within Ethereum, I don't think you can have an NFT, because remember, an NFT is just an address. It's 64 characters, right?
Yeah.
And within those 64 characters, it's referencing either, hey, you should go look at the website here and pull up this image, based on the website that you're on, like everything this needs a digital playground, which is really, Web3 that we're trying to show here is, all of this is just encryption and addresses, but you still need the internet and a UI UX in order to be able to interact.
Now there is, and it also depends on the smart contract itself, right? We're talking about specific implementations of a given NFT. You could, and I think we can show this when we do the experimentation with NFTs, is I could just I could go copy a smart contract and mint it with the same code and call it the same thing, right? So like there's nothing stopping anyone from doing that. So you got to be a little mindful, as this is not, you could copy this stuff rather easily. There are though some contracts that are pretty innovative where they, inside the code itself, it's generating the images and even hashing some of the images inside of the contract. Like Cyberpunks does that, I think. CryptoPunks, is it called?
CryptoPunks.
Yeah, CryptoPunk smart contract stores a hash,
which is why it's only like 12 pixels.
Yeah, because you can't store all these images. It would be extremely costly I don't even know if it would be possible. But,
I didn't know that it was stored in contract. That's cool.
Well, the hash of all of them are not, you know what I mean? So all of them together, there's a hash that hash the exact file. So you could essentially still copy it if you had that file, I guess. But
I'm gonna have to look up how that one works.
That artwork went for a lot.
Yeah, they're one of the originals.
Who does, you?
No, I don't have any of them, but they are the original NFTs. They've been around for since
the two guys looking at each
2015.
other, or one guy looking at each other. Yeah, there they are. It's crazy. They spend so much money on these things.
Yeah, and these guys have some cool projects. I think this one, the autoglyphs, it was probably the most interesting smart contract that I've read. This generates these NFTs inside of the smart contract itself, which is super interesting. So there's like,
this is what we wanted to do, but off chain.
But off chain, they're doing it in the contract when you call it. It's pretty cool.
So NFTs are ERC 721 tokens or 721.
Well, they can be.
So then you have ERC 20. You have 720. Then you have, ERC 20.
ERC 20 is typically going to be a coin.
Right,
ERC 721 is typically going to be an NFT. And now you also have ERC 1155, which tries to bring the concept of royalties and payment programs into an NFT contract. So that's where it merges NFT, the ERC 721 and the ERC 20 concepts. And you have the multi-token standard.
Yeah, I hope we can have meetups just on this token alone, because I think the possibilities of this is huge for artists. Like if you say for example, you put out music, right? And you want to get a royalty every time that music is streamed, you could, using this 1155 standard, structure it. I think folks are starting to do this where you can automatically get royalties when they're streamed. And it would, you don't need these centralized authorities that keep track of what's streaming and stuff like that. And I think this could be applied to a lot of different things to make passive income
I
opportunities.
love it.
How does somebody have the authority to take someone else's work? And
No, you take it. So say if you play music, you post it. You're in control of it.
I just don't see that flying long term. There has to be some ramifications. You're taking someone else's creativity and your
who's taking it on. You as the creator have posted it onto the Ethereum protocol.
No, maybe he's thinking like
you pirated or something.
No, he's thinking like you put like the Beach Boys out there. Don't they have royalties already?
That's a good point. Yeah, like you're going to take that and say, I'm going to get royalties on
Yeah,
this.
we're talking about the future music, the music that's created now going forward, and the artists that license it to go onto the blockchain, because exactly to the NBA Top Shot scenario, you have all the players that are running around and begging the fans for their cards. They don't own their royalties on that right now, but and nor do they have access to it. So they're out there going like, hey, I'm a fan too.
But music is also pretty easy to validate in terms of its authenticity, because like you could take a Beach Boys song and compute the hash value of it, right? And that hash value would be the same for every single one, right? If it's the original. So,
but who's going to do that? And who's going to
the owner of the Beach Boys?
And who are they going to sue though?
Well, they would have to, the smart contracts would be programmed to say, hey, that the royalties will not go out to this person that doesn't have the rights to it, right?
Yeah, but that's why it's all open source, and the idea being that this is all transparent, and if there's any malicious behavior where it's trying to cut out the artist, well, people aren't going to use that contract. People will then use the contract that's valid.
Remember that guy we met in the Ethereum meetup a couple of years ago in Manhattan? He was working on this. He worked for Metallica.
Etherisk. That guy. Yeah.
He mentioned something. He worked for Metallica, and he was hired by, I think it was Metallica, it was a big band. And he said that around the world, there's all these pools of, it was before these standards were even a thing, there were these pools of databases that hold royalty information about specific songs and when and how they're played on local radio stations. And there's a bunch of misspellings and all just basically bad database maintenance. And I think he called it like black boxes of value, where this money just sits there. And only big bands like Metallica have the budgets to say, hey, you go scour the world in all these databases for my money. Most smaller bands don't have those resources. So this right here, I think, would solve a lot of that problem. You know what I mean? It'd be a big undertaking, because you got to take down probably there's a lot of problems outside of technology, obviously.
I mean, if we're taking down the banks, we may as well take down, the guys controlling
everyone else.
Ooh, I love it. Take them all down.
Hey now.
May not want to live in that world though.
Yeah, right. It's going to be pretty dystopian. You better hold some Bitcoin.
There's going to be a few days or more of troublesome times and recovery.
Yeah.
I don't believe in this dystopian, the anarchy, and that's, I believe that we're slowly going to crawl to a better future, and the
Fingers
technology
crossed.
and the yeah, I mean, we have no choice, I think.
Well, like you said, the passive income opportunities right now on chain are insane, right? Like I'm staking DAI getting 30%. Like how it's insane, right? So like,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, so I think those types of opportunities for investors in this space right now, it's huge. We're not getting that in traditional investment vehicles right now, right? It's not, I mean, the stock market's not doing bad. If you're an investor in equities, it's not terrible, but like, these types of passive income opportunities, I think it'd be huge for a coming generation coming up.
Well, these type of passive income opportunities are also unsustainable, right? Like you can't offer 30% yield for long periods of time because, then people will go into it and the yields will go down. Like that's just not how markets are intended to work. And you can't just keep creating these new types of coins so that, a lot of those yield farms were able to get those crazy high yields because they were literally creating new coins and saying, okay, this coin is worth $5 each and I'm going to create, however many I want of them. And if you stake with me, if you put your ether or your DAI or your whatever, I'm going to give you Blueberry coin. And people are going to pay you for Blueberry coin because why the hell not? Yeah. And since you got
sounds trendy,
the Blueberry coin, you can put that back in the yield, right?
That's almost
and that's how you're getting those APYs on people.
I was gonna say it's almost as worth as much as the Long Island blockchain coin.
Right. Yeah. A couple $1 million a coin. That's all right.
Maybe.
So guys, if we're getting on to about 9:30 here. Figured this would go for about an hour and a half. Just some general stuff. I mean, we'd like to try to do this. Hopefully you guys got something out of the conversation. I know I did. I think this was awesome. I love to connect with like-minded folks and talk about this stuff. We're just trying to build a community here, and we want to connect and we want to learn together. There's so much to explore. It's not just the technology, it's just the businesses and the opportunities, investment opportunities. There's so many things to explore. We did start, and I don't know how good we're going to be at it, but we did start a Discord server. I'll post a link in the chat. I'll post it on Meetup. And if you want to play around and just try to transact, shoot me your address in the chat, and I will send you some LIBC on the Gorelli test network. So you could just kind of play and maybe even be amongst yourselves, just pass around the coin and just to play to see what, if you haven't transferred anything.
Make sure when you send it, we need to know the contract address, because you can send me all the coins you want, but if I don't know the contract address, Metamask isn't going to recognize it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, to that point, Craig, somebody on YouTube from that video we posted is requesting how do you associate an image to the token? And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little there's a call you can do in MetaMask to make it automatically populate your wallet with that contract address, so you don't need to know it, and then I can associate an image to it. So I may put up a link.
Well, that's applying like it's some type of list. So how do you apply to the list? The MetaMask list?
No, it's
like
just
it needs to be recognized.
Yeah, no, I tell in the call itself, I give it the contract address. So the users don't need to know the contract address. It just pops MetaMask.
Oh, cool.
So as you click on that, it has your address.
By accepting it, it's recognized, or by being sent it. Oh, because it's talking to MetaMask, and MetaMask has the call of, hey.
Yeah, so we can add a button that says, like add LIBC to my wallet. Boom, you hit that and it goes right into your wallet.
Well, here's it's tax season, so here's a big question. You did drop me those coins. There's no value, right? Do I need to report a value for those coins?
No, there is no value whatsoever.
They are not on mainnet.
It's on testnet.
They're not on the mainnet. Good
question, though. Yeah. There's absolutely no value. It's just to play. And what we'd like to do too in the future. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
No, you go for it. I was gonna say when we do go on mainnet, and I do plan, especially when Uniswap comes out with V3, and I can do it for like no gas. We will put the coin on mainnet, and it'll still have no value because it has no assigned value at the time that we're giving it to you. If people, start buying it on one of those AMMs and then we give it to you, then it's a taxable event.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to get to the point where we can experiment with, holding tokens, give you access to certain things on a site. Like you can see subscription models popping up that way, where it's like, instead of paying monthly to say the New York Times, you hold the New York Times token, and then you can go to the website and you get access to it. Right. And if an organization like New York Times that has a lot of rep, they could probably get value behind that, actually make more money if they just add value to their token than actually charge customers, which is, I'm just making that up the top of my head. May make no sense, but it's an interesting model of holding tokens to access services on the net, which is also your identity, right? So you don't have to log in. You're authenticated because your wallet's connected to it.
Sorry, I was sticking with the NFTs and the audios and the pieces of exactly what you're talking about. Imagine an artist that can issue a token or an NFT and host a live event. And anyone that goes to my website that's holding the token can actually listen to my live event.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the token, then you get, please go buy the token.
Yeah.
From the website.
The concert ticket.
Right. It leads into ticketing, right? That's cool. All right, guys.
Anyway.
Yeah, so thanks for connecting. We're going to probably host another one in the next month or two, where, we're kind of, if you guys have any ideas on topics, or if you do want to present anything,
Creating an NFT, like you said.
Yes, boom. All right, cool. We're going to put that on the agenda.
Easy, yeah.
That is happening. All right, so the next one we're going to do.
Nick, we got to figure out how to go make some NFTs.
Let's do it, baby. We have that one contract we wrote like 3 years ago. I don't even know where it is, but.
Don Mattingly.
Yeah, he still makes fun of me for that.
We were creating a silly game, and we were going to try and represent, and he was trying to represent.
Nope. Okay.
Did we
Cut
lose
him
Craig?
off.
Craig, I think he lost his internet. Oh, Craig, you break
right in the middle of my story.
Did you guys see the Taco Bell NFT?
Oh yes, I did.
This is insanity. I'm like, I think I live in an alternative universe.
I bought it right away. I don't know. I had to own it. You just see a Taco Bell NFT, and I got my double-decker taco and my NFT double-decker taco, and
wow.
That is amazing.
It's a craze.
I've heard
it's worse than 2017 ICOs. Much worse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
At least some ICOs made sense.
Right.
Like Algorand or whatever. But here, I'm stunned. I mean, first of all, there is no point unless the only NFTs I see so far that are useful are tickets to the events. That would be great. But other than that, you just take a screenshot of any NFT and you have it. It doesn't matter who owns it, right? You can use it as a screensaver.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty large discussion that we can have. I look forward to having that. I think there's a lot to unpack there. You could do that. You can argue that same point for like the Mona Lisa, right? Like I can take a picture of the Mona Lisa and put it on my wall. It doesn't mean I own the Mona Lisa, right? So I think there's something.
Everybody uses the same example of Mona Lisa. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, whatever, somebody at the Louvre said Mona Lisa is very valuable. And nobody has ever contradicted it, right?
Yeah.
It's very different from some NFT that, cost $1 million, and there is I don't see a rhyme or reason why it should. But the better example than Mona Lisa is a baseball card that worth $1 million because it's in mint condition from 1920.
Yeah, there's no doubt there's a bubble situation going on. A lot of people made a lot of money, and a lot of people with a lot of money probably irresponsibly are spending it right now. So, it's you think about it, if you're a kid, you just made $1 million, and
you're gonna buy a taco.
You buy a taco, baby.
if they want to, this is their money. If they want to spend it that way, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering when those tulip balls would become useless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
well, the NFTs maybe, but hopefully not in the crypto world, the non-NFTs where
No,
they have
I'm only.
functionality.
I'm not talking about anything else.
Yeah.
And even NFTs, just some deployments of the NFT.
Hold on, Craig, your internet's really.
I heard that people get up at 3 a.m. in order to mint the NFT now these days.
Really?
That's how crazy it is.
I think it'll settle where there's a lot of utility in it. I mean, thinking bigger picture, things like tickets, things like college degrees or certifications, you know, they could all be essentially NFTs, right? Provable things that are associated with an address.
I also think creating scarce digital assets behind nostalgic brands are something that is already happening. People already want to buy one of one. If you think of fashion, you want to buy a one of one Gucci X Supreme sweatshirt, and the value of that only goes up on resale. So it's the same thing. I mean, you could take a picture of a Gucci X Supreme sweatshirt, or you could get a knockoff, but it's not going to be the same thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, hey, Nick, is there any way that I can follow up with you as far as like figuring out someone to make these NFTs? Because I think I really do have a really good idea with NFTs, but I just don't know an artist or anyone to actually contact with to, you know, help design these NFTs.
Yeah, I'll let me throw my email in the just through my email in the chat. Shoot me an
Thanks.
email. We can jump on a call one-on-one or something and talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
All right.
All right, guys. So I think we'll end it here. Look out for meetup.com. We'll schedule another one in the next month or two, and I think we'll probably do it on NFTs. We'll try to actually mint some NFTs.
Thank you so much.
By that time, NFTs might be history.
Yeah, might be.
You might be right.
You know?
But then we'll at least
No
show you
way.
what they were.
No way. No way, no how.
I don't know. I just, you know, to me, I don't see the difference between NFTs and tulip bulbs. Somebody's going to end up selling the house and holding the tulip bulbs.
Yep.
You'll have a very pretty garden, though.
That's true.
I know, but you won't have a garden. You sell the house to buy it.
You can get some virtual land to put the tulips on.
But then you need virtual tulips. You don't need the bulbs. Exactly.
There you are. Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, guys.
Good job,
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Nick.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.